the most popular, elegant queen, the blessed, beloved.
Oh, wow.
Queen Mama Ro. Look at it, feeling all elegant.
Well,
you know
I gotta have some sunshine in the midst of this whole hysteria.
Yes,
hysteria.
Hysteria. We're here. We haven't changed locations because we're practicing social distance. We're kind of a little bit closer to be honest with you. I don't know. Make sure that, I don't know. Hopefully you got your search. We really don't know because, as everybody know, the coronavirus is just like the conversation, the topic. So for all folks, if you're sick of hearing it, you just tuned into another podcast that's going to probably talk about it the whole time. And I think that we're going to talk about it in length. We're not experts. We're not doctors. We're not conspiracy theorists on a level of trying to maneuver it with, I don't know if you got the chain letter. Did you get the chain letter? From a friend?
I got a few things that I was just like, okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we're not going to move it from that angle, but we are definitely going to talk about how this affects black people. The history of, bio war that has happened and it really conflicted on, black people when you talk about the syphilis experiment and things of that nature. Kind of give a brief outline on some of those different things that has happened and the lack thereof transparency, integrity when it comes to our government, to why a lot of us, and there's why there are conspiracy theories out there, because some of us have seen this before, right?
Yes, we have. We
kind of know how this goes. The length of what we've seen has never been anything I've seen personally in my lifetime. This level. Now, I think when we're looking at it, 9/11 might have been something close to it, similar, but it wasn't for that long of a period.
That's so true.
But now, being in this moment, we're just going to kind of talk about why, what, not necessarily the things that we can't talk about because there's so much stuff we don't know. We don't know how you can contract it. We don't even know that if we have it, you know what I mean, without being tested. You know what I'm saying? We don't know how long it's been here. Things we do know, it hit China first, and that's a things we do know that folks are being quarantined. They're telling us not to be in certain places with more than 10 people, if not less. And what we do know is that there's a lot of hysteria, there's a lot of panic, and what we're trying to develop is this idea of being prepared for some things like that and kind of conversating with our people, and we want y'all to chime in. Please limit the conspiracy theories, you know what I'm saying, because we can't break it down.
It don't help us at all.
In a way, personally, I think that we all do believe that whatever government, whether it's Chinese or whether American, there was some type of attachment to some kind of government that helped develop this virus, right? It just didn't happen in the woods. What I am excited about is that no monkey in Africa is being blamed for this current virus, right?
That's so true.
But it's just a reality.
Usually it'd be about a monkey. Yeah. That's so true, Barry.
So, with all of that going on, we want to talk about humanity and before savagery. We want folks to kind of, we want to entertain at the same time, be very clear that we're being precautious. But we feel like it's our due diligence as connecting with the Black experience. Black people, let us know your experiences, what's going on, how you feel affected, and us moving forward, and the things that we feel that we should have to do, and how we've been prepared for this, some of us, and how some of us have become so unprepared for moments like this of really, truly, almost our system shutting down, right? And I look at it, a system shutting down is something that a lot of folks have been asking for a long particular time, like shut it down. And I was even in the angle of thinking these ways once upon a time. But when you are fighting a system, you start developing true, and you have to start getting to grips to reality. I started having reality moments, right? And I say that by saying, when I was gung-ho with a lot of my other comrades, and we were really in the midst of really going at the system locally, but it took a national, took a national spotlight. I really started seeing the ins and outs of how this whole thing really works. It's one thing to learn about it in history, but it's another thing to when you're right in the midst of fighting it. And you really start seeing, one, how powerful, how cunning, how deceptive, and how organized the system that you're trying to abolish or dismantle is compared to you. One thing I think, and I shouts out to MJ from Black Blueprints. She basically broke it down, and we was talking, and she said, you know what we've done? We've done the opposite. When we were thinking that we were organizing, we were more or less mobilizing. So a lot of the things that we were doing have all been mobilization. It has necessarily never been really organizing, because if we were organized, the virus that we're having right now would be something like, okay, we're ready. And as we see, a majority of us are not even close to being prepared. And we see that from the hysteria and the panic from the grocery stores. Everyone's stockpiling. Well, if we were prepared, we should have been already stockpiled. You see it from folks with the misinformation. Well, if we was already informed to do what the next steps is, we won't need the government to assist us and tell us what do we do next, because we're already prepared. So the reality that we were doing in the wrong step of realizing this idea of thinking we were in this moment of organizing truly was us all mobilizing, but never truly organizing, where we could have set our own true government, our own true alternative, because the reality of this is everyone's sitting on pins and needles for the most of us, because we are waiting for what the government, the system that a lot of us, not gonna say all, a lot of us has said, let it fall. Me, I'm still in the curry of this is the best opportunity for us to build. I'm not in a panic zone because this shall pass. But at the same particular time, it also lets me see how many of us were ill-prepared for a moment like that, but yet scream that they were ready for this moment. And we needed this moment, but yet are sitting in and looking for government assistance. So there's a lot of things for us to kind of break down, Queen.
Well,
you know.
That's true. I also think when you're trying to do population control, people are never, ever ready. That's why I don't believe in the we's, because I think that's a...
you was just telling me we need to do...
Yeah, we could all be, because there's some people who are going to be organized. Have you ever been up to the top of the United States, those what's that, northwestern states, like, South Dakota, North Dakota, Nebraska, those people up there are prepared. They are relying on self. When you looked at that map, they're not lit up like the eastern seaboard, like the southern part of the United States. They've been ready. They've been living off the land. They are not afraid of dirt and worms. They're not afraid, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and then you have to also remember, you're talking about a very fragile population. That's why history is so important, because there's a lot of us who are not with family, who do not take directions from elders or people who know a little something. Some of us are still mad that we got abandoned and all that kind of shit. No, seriously. And so it's really hard for that person to take direction from someone that can help them through this moment.
Yes.
And I think that's what we're seeing. But I also believe that God has a plan, the devil has a plan, but God is the best of planners. What are you saying, Mama Ro? I'm saying that all of this is divine order. We know if you look back through history, there's always been things that have changed the population.
Yes.
Whether it was the smallpox or the Black Plague or, we can just go down.
The Spanish
flu. So we know that comes, and then it kind of, some of us have to leave the planet because our immune systems are not strong enough. And I think this brings us right back to genetic annihilation, when they talked about those genetics. I remember when being in elementary school and reading about back in slavery times, how the white kid, the slave master's son, got like the chicken pox or something. Okay. And then he played with the enslaved little black African boy. And then he got the chicken pox. But the little enslaved boy went home, to wherever they were living. And they put some stuff and herbs on him, whatever. And he was fine, but the white boy died.
Yeah.
And that's when you start to understand how important genetics is in this moment. And how you take care of yourself, or how you socialize with people. My Uncle Stanley, blessed memory, used to always say, when you integrate with people, you pick up all of their stuff. I mean, that's why old school people say you don't drink after people. You don't eat after people. I mean, you hear them say, like, oh, please, we always eat each other's French fries off the plate and stuff like that. One time I caught the common cold because I drank after somebody. And they was, I don't know what possessed me. I was 20-something then, thank God. But it's all of those little lessons that you learn growing up. And when you don't know culture, people, you'll be waiting on the very government who don't want you here in the first place because we're kind of overpopulated and we have no job for you right now that you could work for free. So we're going to have to figure out how to get rid of some of y'all. So I think we have to be very honest about where we are and the variations of where we are.
The food chain?
Oh my God, because it's almost like that, to be very honest with you, Barry. But I can really, really see that. And I think that is something that we do not talk about in terms of, I'm watching people being upset having to deal with their own creation, like their children. Being home with them. Oh my God. Well, you know what?
Where am I going to bring them?
Yeah, you're going to bring them to you. This is somebody that you created. They're your responsibility. Now you can't blame the principal or the teacher or say it's some conspiracy theory. They don't want your kid in here even though they're disrespectful as hell. Come on, y'all. Work in the system. You now have to deal with your product.
Yes. No, I think everything that you said is spot on. And I think that the reality of what we are dealing with right now is a coming to Jesus moment. Coming to
for
Jesus
real.
moment.
For real though.
Unfortunately, some of the churches was closed, but we won't talk about that. All right? Coming to Jesus moment with ourselves.
That's real
and
talk.
Dealing with all of the things that we have yet to deal with. Like I said, I put a post up and I said, this is a moment where now reflection is a key component of our lives.
Right on.
I mean, do I believe in this doomsday theory? They've been yelling it for a while. No, I don't. Because
we slavery, so tell me about doomsday.
Well, yeah, and on top of that, it's not going to look like this. It's not. I think that it will be. Here's the thing: when I know a disease or a virus has come, and I could be around you, like touch you, right, and you fall in the next 2 days, I'm then now saying doomsday is here. But this is not it. We don't know what it really is, or do we really know what it is? It's just we as Johnny Public don't really know how this thing really works. Some say it's a high-powered flu. Others say, well, it's not the flu. But then it's flu symptoms. And then some individuals, Idris Alba, who just got, who got tested and said it was, he's positive for,
Even though he's looking healthier than
an ox.
As the basketball.
I'm just saying,
Magic Johnson.
With Magic Johnson with AIDS.
I got tested. I'm quarantined. Yeah. Like what?
We still have a bunch of individuals that we're looking healthy. To be honest with you and I can have it. We don't know.
Right.
But here's what we do know. We do know that this is an eye-opening experience for folks, especially black people, to see how much we really truly need each other, and all of the negativity and all the things that we create, the battling, the gossiping, the confusion, being disconnected, not being connected, Negroes out there trying to cape for other cultures and not their own, and separation of ourselves, and not developing systems of our own. This is kind of why we need systems. Because as much as folks wanted to try to blame it on the Chinese people, so folks wanted to blame it on a drink Corona. I'm just thinking these are all the things that people put out there, right? People be throwing their memes.
Hey, Corona was not on the shelves when I went to the store, though.
Yeah, exactly, right.
You better get the alcohol in.
It all depends on the reality, and shouts out to Queen. She just put out depends on our immune system. Yeah, and our immune system, to be honest with you, black folk, we have a strong immune system.
What the shit we
with all, and then on top of that, we're resilient altogether. But what this really states to us, for me, in my opinion, right, is how disconnected and disorganized we truly are, and how codependent we've been. But you and I have been saying this and stating this every time we've on the show. We've always stated what it looks like for black people to govern ourselves, and we don't have no clue how to do that. And then what it also speaks on to the volume of America. How America truly can do one or two things. It can, when they want to, provide, and it will, because they don't have to, not provide. And I say that by saying, when we look at ourselves as being one of the richest countries, but our medical system as bad as it is, the true reason why this virus is an epidemic here in America is because we don't have enough hospital beds. And that means that there's still people getting shot. There's still people coming with asthma. There's still people that are cancer patients. There's still people getting pregnant, having babies. There is no beds. There's not enough medical facilities here in America for a rich country. And at the same particular time, the way we get charged by being such a rich country here in America, to think that we are not prepared by American standards. where military, we have invested millions and trillions and billions of dollars to be prepared for war, but we're not prepared for an outbreak. And Bill Gates had a TED Talk where he discussed this a few years back. And, of course, Bill Gates now stepped away as CEO from Microsoft. Hint, hint. He said that we were not prepared. And now as an American, right, being here, you look at it and say, damn, we're not prepared. But we go deeper as a black person living in America. How unprepared are we? Because as we truly know, the kumbaya is happening right now. But once things start getting kind of figured out, you know how the savagery starts coming through, right? Because it was just like 9/11. Everything was kumbaya. We are all American, boom, boom, boom. Until things started getting back to normal, right? Well, and now you started seeing all of that kumbaya is out the door, and that's what I'm concerned about.
Except for those cops killed those black people in New Orleans. You know, it was not all kumbaya. They was taking their turn to annihilate people.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
In the midst of it.
Yes, but that's what I mean.
In the beginning, there was some kumbaya.
Yeah, no, in the beginning it's always kumbaya because we don't know, right? Because here in the sense of us always being the attacker, right? The shock treatment for us is like, boom, 9/11. And that to me was almost like, because we never saw an attack like that on American soil firsthand. Now, we've heard about things, but firsthand, watching a plane go to New York and hit towers, automatically you could tell a person living in America anything. You could say, and they did, we need to go ahead and higher up the gas prices because we go in there looking for the weapons of mass destruction. What you think I'm going to say? Go do it. And that's the kind of thing where I feel outside of after this epidemic comes and we figure it out, what will be the changes in America that we will have to pay for? That will be the results of us suffering even more after the fact. That's my problem that I have with this whole thing.
I also believe, and I'm with you, Barry, and I agree with you, but I also, thank God I've been to Cuba over 15 times. I look at a country like Cuba, small island. People say they have a really good patent or a way to treat this coronavirus. But because America is so stubborn,
yes,
they don't want to go to this small, tiny island. They still got them in an embargo against something that happened at a time where America was dead wrong. Mm-hmm. And so, it's so funny. I think I don't know. I look at the Cubans, they're so resilient in the face. Here they are standing up to Goliath. And I'm saying to you, there's some lessons to be learned here. I don't think it takes a lot of ingenious. I definitely don't think it's about the money. I mean, in terms of what's going to help us, I don't think it's about really having enough hospital bills, to be honest with you. Cuba believes it is better to prevent a disease than to cure it. Mm. So that means your people have to have some kind of level of respect for government in order for them to even have that kind of, I'm not saying that they don't disagree in Cuba. They probably disagree all the time. But they know that their government does stuff that's going to help them live because their people are their human capital, if you will. So to have healthy people, I've seen this firsthand on the street, meeting people who don't even know why I'm here, but telling me why they're eating certain food because it's going to help them nourish their baby because they're breastfeeding. I mean, that's kind of dope. They don't even know who the hell I am. So what I'm saying is some of this stuff we already have the answers to, but we got to stop waiting for people to tell us what to do and do what we know is right. You better figure out what Big Mom and them did. They done survived a whole bunch of shit. I think the difference between us and that time period is that we have social media. So we could talk to anybody. This is not like you are 100 miles away from me and I got to send something by horse. Like that's not what we're talking about here. But I think we have a whole lot of power, Barry, but we lazy as shit. Some of us are more like sheep. We just want to follow the leader and blame people when shit go wrong.
Well,
instead of being like, let's be accountable. Let's make sure we wipe down our kitchen and wash our hands and,
all those OCO people, all those people who have OCO now, they look kind of smart, right?
Oh my God, they got all the Lysol. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm just saying. So I just feel like there is some things there, Barry, and I get it. I mean, I really think that God has a plan and the devil has a plan, but God is the best of planners. Sometimes you get thrown into greatness, not because you prepared and planned for it the way you thought about it in your mind. Mm-hmm. It's how you live your life. And then when these events happen, some people ain't never worried. Yeah. Because they've been doing the right thing the whole time, being accountable. Now, that don't mean you don't help people. And that's where I'm struggling at. I'm struggling with seeing people not checking in on single moms or young families. I'm watching people not asking folks, well, where's your kid going to school if you know that you're not getting let off work because maybe your job is not letting y'all off work, or maybe you work in an underground economy. Mm-hmm. Who is looking after your children? How many of us sitting here, I know I got at least 4 or 5 different laptops, y'all. It's the truth, because I keep my old laptops. I get them fixed in case I need them in case of emergency, like right now. You know, where you could plug and you know, teach your kids. How many of y'all really spend time with your kids like that?
Well, they're going to have to spend time now.
Yeah.
They're going to have to spend time now.
But my thing is, they can still learn. They can still learn. And for those who are homeschooled right now, they are hot commodities.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that meant that they made a sacrifice to homeschool. Anybody who I know that has homeschooled their children, because most of them now are adults, now their kids are adults, they made a sacrifice. So it wasn't really about the money, even though I came because this and I got to make this money, whatever. You make the sacrifices for your child. Now you have to do it, but that don't mean we can't help each other too. But you got to know when to ask for help. This kill me when people be having pride when they ain't got shit. That kills me. Because you're just like you want to make people feel guilty. Like you should have checked. No, you should have asked. You should have asked. You should say something to somebody. How many of y'all checking on your elders, your neighbors, like you know that may be elderly and is not going out much? How many of y'all bought some tissue and took it to somebody who you know maybe they ain't got their unemployment check or took it to them? Hey, do you have? How many of y'all just gave beans and rice to people? You can eat off of beans and rice. If you've been poor in America, especially historically, you know beans and rice is our best friend. They eat beans and rice all over the world.
Beans and rice is nice.
So you know. How many of us have done that? That's all I'm saying. I always say it's the way people react.
Well, the way we reacted is panic zone.
Well, yeah.
And
well, some people I know just more weed, bought a bunch of drink, and they think they're gonna be cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, I mean, and I think a lot of our reaction has been due to social media conspiracies as well as media overall, and generally this helps the media with their ratings, and then it also speaks on their level of leadership that we have. Because this is probably the worst president to have in a moment of chaos. Because here's the thing about it. If they were really concerned,
right?
Because however this virus got, and I'm just going to throw with my idea.
It's the common cold. Go ahead.
Right? Is that this is another experiment gone totally wrong, right, for America. And the reason why I say that, because niggers have been test dummies for a lot of things. Like I said, the syphilis experiment, and you got to remember crack cocaine, right? Ooh. Crack cocaine. Let's go back. Remember, Richard Nixon coined the phrase conspiracy theory when they were looking at him with Watergate.
Right on.
Come to find out, that mother effer was guilty as hell, right? So when you look at this, and I need y'all to walk with me. We're not saying that the coronavirus has nothing. It ain't crap. But you got to look at why we or some of us don't entrust the government with any kind of information and don't believe that this virus just appeared. When the crack cocaine epidemic happened, it was centralized in neighborhoods that look like what? You and me.
Yeah.
Black community.
Yeah. And
now,
underserved too.
Now, all of the strategy, all of the attack, and it even allowed, unfortunately, African American males and some females to now fall into an industry that was making money, to the demise of our own people. And that's the unfortunate part, because we had a heavy hand in it. But my whole thing is, like, I'm never going to turn on the oven when I have a 5-year-old thinking my 5-year-old ain't going to touch the oven with a hot pot on it. Get what I'm saying? So you don't have that crack in there in the communities. I don't see no one selling it. But once you make it available and folks see it, and everyone, like I said, individualism kicks in. Like, well, shoot, I can make money from this. If you're smart enough, you're not going to go ahead and get it. And I don't even think people thought it was that addictive at that particular time, right? So you have that, and you know the target. You hear about this virus, coronavirus coming through. You know about all the things that America has done, especially in particular the folks. You see all the shit that's going on in China. We have this issue with China, with Trump says, you know, we're not doing no trading with China. China's going through their whole thing in Hong Kong, revolting. Folks are talking about China over here, ABC. And then all of a sudden, coronavirus hits China. Magically. Like, wait a minute. Knowing damn well we get most of our stuff from where? China. Most of our things are made. China is a big economic powerhouse. It is really, in some forms of fashion, probably a little heavier than us on a lot of technology. So all of a sudden it spreads over there, and then all of a sudden it comes over here. How does that happen? Like, where and why did that happen? And what I think happened in this moment, just like crack, it was supposed to stay in a certain area, but this whole thing spread eagle-wise. It spread and wide openly kind of hit more places than they ever thought it would be. And now with that, you have hysteria and panic coming through because we've never seen anything like this hit all of our industries. We're not just talking about schools being closed. We're talking about casinos being closed. And we're not just talking about casinos being closed. We're talking about some of the major fuel that kind of revs up this American economy. That's sports betting. Sports betting is a huge economic boost. You have no sports being played, so you have no betting going on. So then you look at another industry that is a major economic boost for America. You have the bars being closed. What Negroes will often do, I mean the world, but I'm just talking about us. We go to the bar, go hang out with some friends, watch the game, drink our problems away, as they like to say, get away from the wife and kids, get away from the husband and ex, whatever. You're going to congregate at a bar and drink. And we don't even have that. So all of the things that we incorporate as fun and as major industry is no longer functioning at this particular time. So when I see that, that's when I look at the American government, the system as it is. They are now in their own way panicking and telling us not to panic because they know that someone done fucked up. Because this was not supposed to spread. I think it was supposed to hit its target, and then they kind of figured it out from there. But now, in a sense that it's moved in such a way that they cannot control it, and especially going back to what you said, I still believe that a lot of it has to do with the American medical system is horrible, and we're being challenged by that. Where other countries, and even say little Cuba, is sufficiently fluid, even with less beds to kind of operate, we aren't, because we are
on beds.
Well, whatever.
I get you. They
whatever they operate on, right? What we are is pay and you will get saved. You get what I'm talking about? Pay and you will get medical service. That now theory has to be, well, this epidemic has spread and you have to now take everybody in, because it's not just the person who don't have enough money to have the best insurance. It's the actual doctor that's being sick as well. So it's everybody. It's not a poor thing. It's not a rich thing. It's an everybody thing. And I think that's kind of what makes it a lot different than some of the other epidemics that they've been able to kind of say, boom. Even with AIDS, it was what? It was coming from Africa on a monkey, and then it was only gay people, but then it all of a sudden, it was heterosexual people. So you have to look at the history of America for folks like myself, I know you, Queen, and others, who look at this and kind of like, you kind of with your side eye, because you kind of seen this before, but you haven't seen it move and develop in this kind of way.
I think if you have a formula that works, Barry, you don't change it. My Uncle Stanley, blessed in memory, called him Uncle Stanley a lot today, because he lived to be in his 80s, but he used to always talk about like really understanding history, really knowing your opponent, if you will, and why you should study. And so for me, I just feel like I just posted you all Imhotep's show on Wednesday, and he talked about the history of warfare, germ warfare, on black folks in particular. He talked about the Tuskegee experiment. He talked about and he laid out some different things around the coronavirus in terms of how it could have been, where it could have been developed, who owns the patent to these diseases. Believe it or not, there are patents for these.
That's big.
That's
huge.
all in there. And so I just feel like, in America, if you understand history, that's why you cannot dismiss the past and rely on what you think you just learned. You gotta, because the people who are doing this, they're going off of a playbook. Like, they don't show Hitler on TV 24 hours a day because they want us to know how wicked the man is. Let's just be honest. And we know this dude practiced. They talked about the scientists that they took from Germany who came to work for the U.S. They talked about the same thing in Japan, how they took those scientists and brought them to the U.S. That's not conspiracy. That's fact, y'all. So if you want somebody to do a very good job, you go get what? The best. You go get people who understand how this thing works. But that means that when you do that and you understand it, you cannot hold on to conspiracy. That means now you must do something. The only thing that gets me pissed off with conspiracy theorists, Negroes, is that they don't work. They have nothing to tell you what you should do or what they're doing or what they have done to help. They'll be talking about, well, the man, I don't want to hear shit about the man. I don't even know this motherfucker's name. I don't want to hear that about it. What do we do now? Some of us have been prepared. I get it. what do we do with those who are not prepared? Because we know all of us are attached to people who are not prepared, Barry.
Oh, for sure.
Some of us are the weird ones in the family. We're the ones that everybody think, oh, you just
why are you saving all your money?
Yeah. Why you being like white people eating good food? Like all white people.
Why don't you go to the bars?
Yeah.
Why would you not? You see, the thing about me, I don't go to the bars like that, so it doesn't affect me. I'm not a sports fanatic like that, so it don't affect me.
I don't care about
of course I want to see my LeBron James win a championship, but the whole thing shut down. I wasn't like, oh my God, what I'm going to do. Yeah. We'll go continue, please.
No. So that's also, I just feel like we got to look at that. What is the plan from here? Where do we go from here? And how do we really understand history? Like, where does it fit into right this moment?
Well, I think
we knew this was coming.
Well, I think that we can also look at it when we talk about the crack epidemic. We could also just look at Flint, Michigan. The water experiment that they had over there for years. That's still a problem. And we talk about epidemic, that is like huge health risks. And it's happening. And they've been poisoning the water. You know what I mean? They've been poisoning
Three the Hard Way. Not to cut you off. There's a film called Three the Hard Way, and it's with Jim Brown, Kelly,
Jim Kelly,
Fred Williamson, and what's the other person? I can't remember. Y'all forgive me. But it's with them for they were talking about poisoning the water supply in major black cities. This is back in the 1960s, 1973.
It's been on.
Yeah.
Population control has been on.
Come on, y'all.
And
it's a far-fetched idea.
And you want to kind of play into changing presidents. I mean, this is a perfect way because the president we have right now, he has no recollection, clue. He's not prepared for this. All that other big shit that happens, like go to war, whatever, going against.
Well, he's prepared in a different way, Barry.
Yeah, he's prepared. He's
trying to get the money.
Wall Street.
This is the part.
Business.
But this is business.
Well, this is different kind of business, so I believe, because I think that because it deals with people and it deals with other people that ain't rich. Because if he was really truly prepared, in my opinion, they knew this was about to go down, and we just kept on kind of moving around with our day. Things should have been shut down a lot sooner and a lot quicker. And I think that.
But if I'm trying to get rid of you, Barry, see, you said something that was key. You said, when you thought about the poor people, this man ain't thinking about poor people. It's kind of like after the Civil War, they had to figure out, what do we do with these Negroes? Mm-hmm. What do we, they didn't say, oh, it's over. Now we're just going to change our mindset in a half a second. No, now we have to come up with a whole bunch of plans and systems and policies to keep these people oppressed and get rid of them. See, so of course he's not wanting to do nothing.
Yeah, but see, this is the problem that it falls into when you have bad governing systems like that.
Yeah.
Every other local system that don't follow your lead ain't following your transition.
Right now.
And that becomes the issue because you have California doing one thing, New Jersey doing one thing, New York doing one thing, when we should all be following one kind of sense of lead, and that becomes the disconnect. And now you have Governor Newsom, who is looking like a presidential president with his ways. He's been moving and he's been kind of setting up the whole thing. I look at it now, you got him saying, and looking at some of the population that really ain't going to be looked at, like elderly and the homeless. Saying like there's going to be some hotel rooms for some of the homeless folks that are out there. They have to get off the streets. But my thing is, how critical have we become to those that have always said there should be some kind of universal health care, universal child care, right? That these things that we pay for, we shouldn't have to pay these large amounts of money. Gas shouldn't be this high. That all of a sudden, now, internet shouldn't be that high. And then when folks like us who yell and scream about 10 cents for a bag, I'm like, man, 10 cents for a bag? And folks are just kind of like, no, that's just what it is. No, it shouldn't be. It's so ironic now how everything is becoming, whether it's free or we're going to not worry about the bill. It's like the rent kind of increase that has kind of evicted folks. Now we're not going to worry about evictions. It's so similar and funny to me how we so often talk about things that we can't do, but now we're doing it because we're in a crisis.
I agree, Barry. I'm not disagreeing with nothing that you're saying. All I'm saying is if you understand the plan from the other side, this is working just like it's supposed to work, because that's what they've always done historically. They ain't trying to save everybody. Too many people on the planet. And I'm not saying I agree with it, but sometimes I feel like it's like playing chess. In order for you to win chess, you got to know how your opponent is moving. Mm-hmm. You can't be like, well, if I do this, then he'll do that. No, he gonna do this because this is what he's trying to get to. Now I have to counter that. And all I'm saying, Barry, all of this stuff has been done before. Can you imagine what it was like in the Black Plague, and when they had it in Europe in particular? Mm-hmm. Can you imagine when they had certain outbreaks here in the U.S., how people react to it? They didn't have any of this technology. And those things weren't just things that just happened. Smallpox
and things like that.
But there was a part of a bigger plan. And what I'm saying is that whether it's 45 or anybody else, they have a way, because some of them, all of them belong to a certain higher class of people that don't want us in, or to even give us what is owed to us. No. Because that still, to me, is on the table.
Well, I mean, I think
I don't want this to be like,
well, no, I think, but
wipe stuff. No.
Well, but here's the thing about it now. I think that all of the debates that people have been having, and even some of the views, and for folks who follow Bernie Sanders and his socialism ideas, and some of the other folks, that was in the presidency candidates that are not falling off, but have sat there and said $1,000 a month to Americans and things of that nature. I think some of those things, because I'm not into Bernie Sanders, but I do agree with some of the things that he wants to put on the table. And me is one of those things. Is Medicare in America should never be that costly. You know what I'm talking about? There should never be a surplus of just certain groups having access to everything, because now that you have access to everything, it leaves what is it now it's up to y'all to provide. And I think that's stupid. And as well, us going back to not be codependent on supermarkets and groceries. And shouts out to all the healthcare workers, grocery store workers, supermarket workers, all those folks.
Security guards who still got to be on security at the hospital.
All those folks that have really having to stay in the midst of it. Shouts out to all those people. I think that you don't get enough credit because of all of the craziness. But it just shows you when you don't grow your own food, when you don't have your own products. What happens is we're codependent to a system. And I think that it now has to tell us why we have to be so independent, because we are now waiting for Costco to re-up on things, Walmart to re-up on things, and folks will say they're making millions of dollars. Now I get it, but this is the problem when you are codependent. Because if you're independent, there's going to be other resources. And that will be like the secondary resource, because I already have all my herbs. I already have this production of paper towels and hand sanitizers. This is just the reality that we live in.
How to wash our clothes. Sister Yolanda said, my struggle is checking on family who are not prepared and don't plan to be. Spending money on phones and clothes, etc. They will have no money for food or medicine, but the money for other shit. What am I to do? In the event they start needing all of these things, am I wrong to say I don't have it? Now, this is a good thank you, sis. I want to be able to help. However, I have a household to take care of, and they not doing the things that they need to do to make sure that their households are straight. They'll start this whole as me pity party game, and we be mad. And we'll be mad when someone was not willing to help. I am not willing to help anyone I'm willing to help anyone who needs it, but you have to be willing to help yourself as well. Now, I think that's the other part. I think you hit on something, sis. I think you hit on something big, because I think sometimes when you're the person doing the right thing, people always put the weight of the world on your shoulders while they get to go ahead and be with everybody else. That's why I don't believe the thing of the sheep game. I mean, to a degree. I feel like sometimes we wait for other people to say things are cool before we think it's cool.
Yeah.
When you should just think it's cool because it makes sense.
Well, I think now some of our conspiracy or some of our rhetoric of black talk, I think now folks are like, these niggas have been right. And it's been the truth. Because this is what it looks like when you are waiting on a system. And this is what it looks like when a system gets dismantled. Because however we can disagree or agree, what we can agree on, that there's got to be some improvements. And it has to be improvements on our reaction time, and it has to be improvements on what America moving forward does, because it's showing vulnerability to the world. Because you should not have this much manic and panic and hysteria all at one particular time. And for the queen that was talking about, what should I do when folks aren't prepared? You can't
spend their money to get prepared. That's
you know what? Check this out.
I feel you on that.
I went to the mall the other day, and I still saw people, because the Yeezys came out, right? I still saw people who buying 12 pairs of Yeezys, right? 12 pairs, like literally brought their whole family in. They go do their thing and bought 12 pairs of Yeezys. And you can't just go in the store and buy them. You have to go ahead and go on the internet. So they did work to do those things. And here it is. The mall is still open currently right now. The mall is not closed. The mall is open, right? I don't know with the new conversation of only 10 people now coming into a place, what they're going to do now. But there are places that are still open for business. I believe that what we have to do, we don't have time to sit there and say, shame on you, you should have been prepared. We just have to right now, if we truly going to be a people of change, in a moment we have to support folks that need support. Because what's going to end up happening, if we don't support folks that need support right now, they're always going to be the same folks that's going to be in your house in about 2 weeks taking you for all your shit.
Unless you got a pistol. So here's the thing. No, because some people, so I have friends who are pistol carriers, who go to the shooting range, who are licensed. Because I think in a way we could be looking at the purge. I'm just saying, we see shit on film, we're like, oh, that's so cute. But hell, art, life imitate art all the goddamn time. I mean, hell, we got a reality that when people wear purple hair on TV, our kids start wearing purple hair. So we know that's not something that's far-fetched.
Yeah.
I do think you can help your family, but also make sure you take care of yourself first. Because there's nothing worse than you taking care of everybody and you leave nothing for yourself. That's all I'm going to say. Because even when you're in the plane, they tell you if we're going to crash, put the mask on yourself first before you help others. Yeah. So it's always good to help people. You have to use your own judgment on that. But I also feel like get them some beans and rice. Buy up a bunch of beans and rice. No, I ain't seen none of that being touched in the supermarket.
No, they ain't
Get
gonna do that.
big bags of beans, big bags of rice. Give it to your family. They will survive. We've done. That's how we survived America. The other thing I think people aren't worrying about is how would this look in terms of our military? Would this be the time for our enemies to come attack us now, since they all here in the house? You
know what? I think
that's a question.
I think that the reality is that that's very possible, but because it's a pandemic that's happening all over the world, right? It hasn't been just neutralized in certain things. I think everybody at this certain time, a lot of those so-called enemies, it would be a cunning move. I think folks are everyone is kind of weak until they figure out what's what. But again, I mean, there's all kind of things that could possibly happen. My thing is I just don't want to develop these ideas of fear because I need our people to realize, for those who talk about abolishment, for those who talk about we don't need the system, well, this is what it looks like.
They do need the system, Barry.
You know, but I'm just saying, sis, this is what it looks like. I don't want to go too far depth into that other part because then that's when we all got to really be worried.
That's true.
Because if somebody starts, and that's what I start to think about those things, because if somebody gonna go shoot up something right now, that's the best time to do it. Could you imagine going just to a supermarket right now and some crazy little white boy who's like, yeah, I really want to do something. So it's almost kind of like
you say, yeah,
you know, because this is the best time, but they almost do it in a sense of like, well, I want some attention on myself. They don't do it in panic time, right? It don't really, because if
I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking about our other enemies.
I'm not sure what
that America has.
We have enemies within inside.
That's what I'm saying.
The domestic ones that live in or saying they're Americans. You get what I'm talking about?
Those. Okay, I wasn't thinking about those. Okay, you're right. They're probably more likely.
Yeah.
That's
if they're going to go, that will be because you also remember Trump. Trump does a lot of different things. And shouts out to my homegirl Char, because she basically said, like, things that were put in place to deal with the epidemic firsthand when it hit, he reversed it because it was a part of Obama's plan. Because he's always been on, I'm going to reverse everything Obama, right? And this thing kind of been quarantined a long time ago, and some of these things that he reversed was put into play. He also, if I'm correct, please folks, if you hear me, let me know if I'm incorrect, that I think that when I saw a report that he flipped the fact that mentally ill can, get guns, because there was a ban on mentally ill folks.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he did do that.
You know what I'm talking about? He did do that a few days ago, right?
He did.
So, these are very serious things that we do have to think about. But at the same time, for us, and we strictly talking about our black people, we care about everybody, but this got to be opportunity. If interest rates are like 0 now, you need to now find maybe 1 or 2, 3 people, or if yourself, go and get property. Because what I do know, it is going to get a lot worse before it gets better, but eventually it's going to get back to being the way it was. Maybe change in a lot of different ways, but don't be behind the 8 ball when it changes. And I think that is what I fear, that if we don't take opportunities to be like, okay, here's a Mr. Chaos. It's going down. Let me take care of my people, but let me also take care of myself, and let me also take this opportunity to grow in the midst. Look at different stocks. Like, I mean, make some traveling plans, not now, but, some months back, because everything right now, catastrophically, is going and not looking the same, but also challenge the government with the price gouging. You know what I saw that was horrendous to me? Was some white guy, and they put him on the news, and I'm happy that they blasted him. I'm going to put him on my Facebook, eventually, for those who don't know, if you're not on my Facebook, Barry Axius, Berry, Accius, my Facebook and my IG and Twitter. I'm going to put this guy up because he and his crew literally was hoarding and buying. You saw that, right? I said, holy smokes. And these are the things that we can't do, but they basically put him on blast. The FBI got it in his ass. Like, hey, you can't do that. Knock that off. And I guess he donated to some churches, but then also challenge your churches that are saying that we're going to close because of A, B, and C. I mean, I understand that you have to go ahead and maybe not have a whole congregation, but you got to open up that church a little bit for maybe some other usage of your facilities. And that is bringing in the homeless. Maybe 10, 20, spread them out. There's a lot of things that we can do with certain facilities that are open, say, for the people. This is not a time for our faith to be eroded by fear. Because if you are faithful in walking when nothing happens, you can't be fearful when things are happening. This is when faith kicks in. So that's why I'm standing tall in the idea. I do know it's going to get worse, but I'm not going to create this idea that some folks are, that it's going to be all out war. Am I saying go get a gun?
No.
For sure, get a gun. Am I saying you may want to take some money out the bank? I'm saying take some money out the bank. But I'm also saying, look at now some of the investments that can happen afterwards. Because what's going to happen is just like what happened in 9/11, will just happen in the recession. After the recession came, gone, somebody got rich again. You know what I mean? And that's what always happens in moments of chaos and transition like this.
So Brother Malachi is saying, no need to fear. We must simply come together and do for ourselves. He said that in caps, family. And here's why. Schools are closing. Hospitals are undersupplied. Workforce have no sick leave. And stores ain't even got toilet paper for folks to wipe their asses. But the U.S. just pulled $1.5 trillion from Wall Street, for Wall Street. So that's...
How much is it?
1.5 trillion with a T.
Just now?
Just now. For Wall Street. Because Wall Street right now is suffering. So I have been keeping up with that. Thank you for that.
No,
Thank you for that. And I also think with the school closing, maybe this will help us educate our own kids so we don't have to worry about truant officers in school and having racist teach your kids. Teach your own goddamn kids. Hospitals. Hey, I've been talking about us having a clinic again for years. But, we want to go to the people who we claim want to kill us for health care. Okay, so I mean,
this is
no
again,
sick leave at your workforce.
Listen, this is black opportunity at its best. I believe it's black opportunity at its best. Because, I mean, all of the theories that folks have kind of suggested for years, our ancestors have told for years, and we've watched, and now we're seeing it all in real time. So it's not us being just upset and angry because we don't know what we're talking about and we're just, conspiracy theorists and we want the government to go down. It's just they're showing the true colors. And the reality
some
is,
of us never seen before because some of
that's
us know
why
our whole life.
And listen,
and you
beloved
right,
queen, that's why this has to happen. It has to be a cleanse. It has to be a cleanse. For folks, I'm 6 months and a year okay if nothing goes down. As far as when it comes to my financial situation. Right. And that means my daughter is going to be okay. That means that everybody around my circle is straight. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And I also know people I need to collaborate with to get food and other things. So these kind of chains have to be created, right? And shouts out to my brother Malachi. That's kind of one of my people in my circle. That would be, you are a part of my circle. You get what I'm talking about? So if it has to be a thing, oh sis, I ain't got no herbs, brother. Come on, get it. Let's go ahead and let's break bread. Let's work this yard.
Yep,
so there's opportunity, family. There's opportunities in this. It cannot be a time for us to lose our souls and our mind. It's time to start realizing that we can beat anything because our ancestors' spirits is within us. Yep. And if we dealt with the most horrendous acts of genocide, aside to the Indians, the folks before us, after, right? We can go ahead and deal with this virus because this virus is not a lethal virus. It's not. The only reason why this has really become a strain is because the blinders are finally off. You get to see how weak your government truly is and how much control you have over your government. It does not operate well without people. We are the power of the industry, right? That's right? You know what I'm talking about? Vegas don't operate if people don't gamble. Right. and small businesses don't operate who fuel the American economy if people don't come into small businesses. So when we talk about taxation, we talk about all these other different things, and you can't operate nothing if the people. And we're not talking about the 1%ers. Yeah. We're talking the people, the 99% ain't got what they need.
That's real talk.
And now the 99% can be like, well, hold the F up.
That's how they do in other countries.
You talking about I've powered all these industries, and now they all of a sudden going to collapse. I can't get to a bar. I can't go do this. I can't go do that. I can't go watch my sports game. There is no distractions for you to see your actual reality.
Yep.
And the actual reality, stop listening to those folks that's talking about abolishing anything, because they don't have a plan to enforce something else. And that's what me and MJ was talking about. I was like, how can you abolish anything when you don't have some alternative put in place?
Yep.
That shit sounds crazy, but it sounds good to y'all because y'all want to see it. So now you're seeing it in real life.
Because they ain't never built shit.
I'm just
people
saying,
who talk like that, Barry, they ain't never built shit. They ain't never controlled shit.
Man.
No, really, they've never been like they've never been the head of anything where you have to think about the top to the bottom or bottom to the top. Like, you know, the people who talk like that, baby, they have nothing to offer you. That'd be the same person be like, go ahead and do what you got to do and don't have money to get your ass out of jail.
I guarantee.
It'd be those same people.
This is the same opportunity for us now to police our own without the police.
Hey, you know, I always talk about that, Barry.
Man, sister sat there in educational co-ops. Yes, we need that.
Yeah.
But we don't need to charge in any of these educational co-ops, though.
Well,
things got to be pervaded.
Mine trying to do Black History class, and I'm like, you Black half the time. I mean, how the fuck are you teaching the Black? But I'm not even gonna go there. I just be like, praise the Lord and hallelujah. That's why I'm over here in meditation. Man. I'm telling y'all, this is the time to reflect, remember, refresh, and come on out here and get the work in, right? And rebuild,
keep going,
right? So remember, reflect, refresh, rejuvenate, and rebuild.
Oh, there you
That's
go.
Your fives. I gotta get to five. I gotta get to five, man. I gotta get to five. Five is a good number.
Listen.
So remember, reflect, refresh, rejuvenate, and rebuild. There you go, family. That's your walking papers on there.
I mean,
Valentine week.
Listen. There you go. I'm just because I mean.
But you know, hey, sometimes you gotta be quiet so you can understand what you need. Listen, but all that clutter, though.
I'm telling you.
All that clutter, though. You can't. Sometimes you do get kind of like, oh my God, what's next? Y'all, if you know the history of who we are fucking resilient. Mm-hmm. There is nothing weak in you. Yeah. Nothing, honestly. Except yourself. Mm-hmm. You are your own enemy. So you know they can survive some shit.
The cure is probably in our immune system.
Well, look here. They know that.
You know what I'm talking about? Because at the same time, how many black people have died? I mean, we've contracted it.
A few of them died. One died in New Orleans. I just seen the brother today. He died in New Orleans.
How old was he?
Yeah. He was like probably middle age. Quite healthy, because somebody shared somebody's friend on Facebook. But all I'm saying I'm gonna say this though. But this is where genetics come in at. Yeah. Okay, because everybody want to be mixed up. Mm-hmm. What if that African gene, that gene that survived that middle passage, has something in it that other people don't got? I'm just saying. Then you be talking about, well, now I'm, come on.
And reports
don't be dissing your African side of yourself.
Reports I've heard, two Nigerian brothers,
Well, one person went over to pray for the people.
Well, I heard Nigeria.
And he ended up in the hospital.
But I heard two Nigerian brothers got, they had the virus and they walking around. They're walking around.
Well, they're in Nigeria. They get killed by other shit.
We do. And I'm hearing that Haitians, my shouts out to my Haitian folks, Ain't nobody got the virus yet.
Hold on, they got other shit going on, man. They like, come on over
I
here.
understand it.
We've been dealt with all kind of shit. Who the fuck
Listen,
is Corona? Who is you, Corona?
We
Who the
got
fuck is you?
we got a whole bunch of other shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And shouts out to my sisters. I'm over here on my little watch party.
Right on the call.
You know, I think that's the reality that I feel that we come from in this whole reality.
I agree.
Let's not jump the gun.
Yeah.
But let's be very cautious. I'm not going to sit there and say that I can't be affected.
Right on.
I'm not going to sit there and say you can't be affected. I'm not saying none of my family can. I say, but at the end of the day, we all know that the system of America has always been cunning to be deceitful and have deceived numerous times. We have the proof, right? So I'm not going to believe in a system that has never allowed common folk, not even just talking about black, just common folk to get it the way they can get it without their involvement. So we have to be cautious. And that just is for those who I might offend who are of other races, you know, because sometimes it is, you have to understand what we're talking about. But that's
white supremacy. When you allow yourself to be offended because you won't see yourself in it, that's your white supremacy side coming out. Because white people who understand this game, Gary, they know that something is owed to us. And they don't be like, well, what about me? That's white supremacy when you do that. That's your anti-blackness when you do that. Yeah. You know this country owe black people. And then you know it.
And we also know about population control. And we know about our big bad selves going to fight wars like Vietnam that ain't there. You know our big bad self have lied about weapons of mass destruction that wasn't there. So there's just historically, and we're not even talking about years historically, we're talking about a few years, maybe a month or so.
All of that was built off of that, though.
Right?
And it all goes back to the root.
And then just kind of like how this all happens. Harvey Weinstein just got 23. We don't want to forget about that. Yeah. We don't know if Jeffrey Epstein is dead or if he's snitching. We don't know.
Or is he with Tupac?
Yeah, exactly. We don't know. But we do know that the center of pedophilia has been exposed. But pedophilia, the chain of it started in the beginning when they colonized. Because those presidents that you were celebrating last month on President's Day were a part of the pedophilia ring.
That's right, Barry.
So we know things like that are, so all of these outside situations distracting us from all of these things that have been exposed to us, we got to still remember, balance the beam. We still need some answers. Weinstein, who else was a part of what you guys had going on? Because it's a very, very powerful train. Weinstein did not operate in just immunity by himself.
Right on.
Understand that.
There was a whole crew.
There was a whole crew. So these are things that we have to continue to keep our eye. Man, we got to continue to keep our third eye at every point. We just can't get lost in the confusion of what this is as they continue to operate, right? They continue to operate, continue to do things outside of what we consider as normal. So we just don't want folks to just be so waved in this, corona, and start forgetting. Of course,
don't forget about Liberia. Right on. I'm not saying that we are like, because people sometimes we just really hate to think that we forget that African people are the original people on the planet Earth. That means you came here with some shit that other groups don't all have. Let's be honest. That's like having that original designer bag, and then you get knockoff. That shit is not made with the same shit as the original one. Let's be honest. But what I'm saying is, and then when you think about all the hardships that African people been through, period, wherever you're on the planet, white supremacy have been everywhere. We had to make it through some really hard shit. Whether if it's smallpox in a blanket, you know, whether if them giving us contaminated food or the syphilis experiment or whatever the hell it is. So what I'm saying to you is, there is something to this, and that's why you should love your blackness as hard, and that you can rebuild anything. You know how many times black people have rebuilt shit? So that don't mean you get here and be like, I don't want to do that. Then you're gonna perish with the rest of the folks. You have to rebuild, family. And in a way, this is, again, it goes to what I said earlier. God has a plan, the devil has a plan, but God is the best of planners. Even the devil works for the good of all. Somebody has to do the fucked up part of the job. I don't want to do the fucked up part of the job. But that has to happen, y'all. That's what makes great things come. If you don't have challenges, you don't even know what the fuck you're made of. You really don't. And all I'm saying is, I know my history personally. I don't have to do generic personal history. I mean, I'm black, I get it. But when you really understand your line, there's no way you can really say you can't do something.
Yes.
Straight up. And that's why we said remember, reflect, refresh, rejuvenate, and then rebuild.
Rebuild. Yeah.
Get your shit together. We can do it, family. But that means it's okay also to take breaks on each other. People get on my nerves. I say, hey, I'll call you later on. That's like I do on my real goddamn family. Then I call your ass back like, what's going on, family? You know, don't mean you have to agree with everything or like everything somebody does. Somebody feel you, call their ass on the shit on the side, not on fucking Facebook. Call their ass up. That's what it means to be family. You call them, hey, yo. Or go sit down with some tea, I guess, over the thing, because we can't even talk to each other, but over the, you know, it's the message or whatever the fuck. But we have to do that, family. We got to get tight again. Because to me, we can survive this. That's what I believe.
Oh, we're going to survive it.
Yeah.
We're going to survive.
Yeah, we are going to survive it, Barry. We really are. But I also think that takes us being accountable to each other. And that's where some of us is going to struggle because we don't know what the fuck accountability look like. We use these words, restorative justice, and all that bullshit. But most of us haven't restored justice to ourselves so that we can connect with other people so that we can rebuild.
Yes. I think everything that you said is spot on. And I hope that folks are really understanding what we're saying in that reality. And our reality becomes a thing to, if we miss out on this opportunity, because this is opportunity. I don't look at this as the end. If we miss out on this opportunity as a collective, right? And Queen said mobilize. Mobilization is one thing. Or another quiz, one of the sisters was like,
oh, okay, I'm sorry. I was just saying, did I say that shit? Go ahead, man.
I believe that we have to mobilize, but I feel like we've been mobilizing. We have to get organized. And that is not spewing your disagreements on a level and then think you're going to turn around and disrespect me on a platform, then think you're going to build with me on the other platform. You get what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I get you.
Not understanding that the mass hysteria, we don't need to fall into that. No, so if you're going out there buying toilet paper in the masses, you're getting it because you're going to help disseminate that situation to other people. So I'm not doing it for my family. I'm doing it for like 4 other families that don't have the opportunity to go out there and do it, or the money. Don't have a car to do it.
That's right.
You're not doing it because you want to be a hoarder for yourself.
I'm taking people to go get groceries and shit in my van. I'm not a van driver, but I'm going to do it.
It becomes that situation. But again, because I've watched, and my daughter and I was just talking about it. She's all, you excited about this, Dad? I said, yeah, I am actually. I said, because we missed out on an opportunity when the recession ended. Banks were being bailed out, car industry was being bailed out, and niggas, we were in the same position.
We got sold out.
Some of us, a lot of us, it was a sellout situation, and a lot of us just kind of hoped on the dream of what Obama was going to do. And again,
oh, that's true.
And again, that again shows you the alignment of having that idea that someone that looks like us in office will rescue us. No, what should have happened was, as that was slowly going, I should have got 3 people and said, hey, you know what? I may not have all of the money, but I got the best credit out of all 3 of us. Let's go ahead and get this property.
Right on.
And these are the kind of things that we have to operate on, and that kind of ideology. And then guess what? Now when you have opportunities to put it, like let's say now that could be a safe house. Let's say if we got together and we bought properties up here in our different communities for folks who are out there homeless, we can be opening the door right now. Right. Like, all right, you know what? I got a free house. I got a free house. Go ahead, boom. And I think that's the opportunities that we have to really look at. If we continue to believe that this government is going to look at us and show us the way, again, because everything is spinning out of control at this particular time, everybody is going to reap benefits. But be very aware, family. Don't take every fruit given. Because as much as they say, don't worry about paying, I'm being honest with you. Unless they say, I have a free month of rent that I don't have to back pay, I'm still going to pay my rent.
Right on, me too.
You know what I'm talking about? I'm still finna go pay what I need to pay. Unless they tell me, like, okay, check this out, PG&E is free for this month, I'm still going to pay my PG&E because I have enough. And I'm willing to help certain folks out in that. It ain't going to be a lot, but I'm willing to help because I don't want folks to get caught up in a way to where you're like, all right, check this out, man. We got free everything this month.
And this is not a form of reparations, family.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't get it twisted.
we got free everything, right? But in the
free.
back,
Ain't shit free in
but in the
America.
back end, right? But in the back end, when everything clears out by August and July, we get back to being some normal. They bring you that March bill. You like, why is my bill $200? They say, well, remember that March shit that we kind of said, nah, we ain't worried about it.
Charging food.
We charging, and on top of that, there's some interest on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So be very aligned to what is going on as much as you possibly can. Stay in tune to keeping up with the essential bills. Some stuff gotta go.
See, Barry, you sound like old school right now. That's how old school people say because they really understood the beast.
No,
I'm gonna call it what it is.
I mean,
and so they never believed nothing that the beast said.
Yeah.
They never believed.
Nah, it's too good to be true. I ain't never heard these places and these companies like this is what y'all should have been doing. You should have made everything affordable so we wouldn't be in this mass hysteria. And that's my problem. Yeah. Like all of a sudden we talk about niggas want to argue up and down with us. Oh, well, how can we get Negroes? We're not talking about the pale folks. Right. Negro. Well, how can they give us reparations? There's no way. Well, how the hell did they just? Well, how much money did they just build out Wall Street with?
Yeah, 1.5 trillion with a T.
And they just had another bailout, I believe, in the airlines. That's about to be $1 billion.
Yeah, because they about to be broke too. We can't afford it.
And now
we can't afford to have them fall.
And now they're talking about, like they're giving free this, free that. Now they flip the interest rates because people can't buy zero.
Well, you heard City of Sacramento has a fund for businesses.
Small businesses.
With 0% interest. But how can
for 90 days.
Yeah, for 90 days.
Yes,
but what does that really mean, though, Barry? Is that for their friends?
That's going to be a very difficult thing because they're saying upwards to $25,000. And I know a lot of people with small business. Of course, I have a small business with my business partner. I have a few businesses, but when we focus on my Hidden Gems thrift store, I know for a fact we were open for this weekend, and we probably had 5 people come in per day, but 3 people bought. You know what I mean? It was a ghost town.
Right.
And I think folks, are kind of like getting to that point where they're trying to scale down. So as me still having bills to pay, unless the person that we're leasing the building from is like, don't trip, we still have to pay all our bills. So how are they going to disperse that money?
That's what I was thinking.
Because, technically we haven't been in business as longer than a business that has been in business for maybe 10 years with 5 to 10 employees. You get what I'm talking about? How are they going to disperse? This is just to me, it's just like you're being able to see daddy open up the wallet all the time. He said, I don't got no money. Like back in the day, your parents be like, I ain't got no money for that. Exactly. Then all of a sudden, you go through it, because I was the type of dude that I used to steal from my dad, unfortunately. And I used to see the nigga stash. You're like, oh, nigga, you just said you had $5. You know what I'm saying? Nigga got wads of hundreds. But he kept all that money because he was trying to give me and my brother a better Christmas. You get what I'm saying? So that is the importance of us understanding now the reality. You must keep a surplus behind closed doors, not always at the bank. This is why I've been screaming. You must at least, if not 3 other sources of streaming income coming in, right? Because when one shuts down, another one opens up. Another shuts down, another one opens up. Something that keeps you going, right? And if you don't have that, you have to be able to have a surplus. You know what I'm talking about? So this reality experiment, I believe, that we are being thrusted in, and I'm speaking to our black community, this is going to speak volumes of how we operate. But again, I'm going to point out, this is what dismantling a government looks like and being separated from a system. So don't ask it if you are not able and prepared to deal with it. You cannot cry and yell at the government's reaction and how they're tuning up things and everything under the sun. You have to now deal with it as it courses and plays out and prepare. That's why when we keep talking about the builders and those who antagonize or just talk, I hope you guys are able to separate those folks from what is your reality and what is true reality. And your reality is going to look different than my reality and Queen's reality. But our overall reality is, don't keep listening to those people that's talking about destroying shit and ain't doing shit to organize, mobilize, and rebuild a system in place. I'm telling you, she's telling you, connect with some folks. Have that plan of action. You should at least have 5 people on your to-go-to list to get certain things that you don't have. So if I was working with my sis, I know my sis needs what? Recipes. I can give my sis recipes. My sis knows Barry might needs herbs. I can give my brother herbs.
Right on.
Figure out who. Who is a transportation person?
Yep.
Who is a person that has access to gas? Who is the weapon person? That if we need extra artillery, who do we go to? If we need extra food, who do we go to? Extra supplies.
Right
Who
on.
is our technician? Who is our plumber? These are lists that you should have, write down, and have that as your go-to, and as well as people, if you have to evacuate your own home, what will you or where will you be able to go? These things should be in place. These are called organized plans, not a bunch of malarkey of folks just talking about this and they ain't got a pot to piss in. I'm for sure not going to listen to the nigga that never had shit before this happened and think that they're going to lead me to the promised land now.
Oh, Barry.
I'm just being honest. I'm so tired of it.
No, it's just the way
Stop,
you said it.
man.
No, you right. You right.
Come on now, sis. Like, niggas, we gotta stop giving these niggas power on social media that ain't never built shit. Just talk shit.
All day,
You want this dismantling the system? Well, here it is. Here it is. It's here. It is here.
Damn, this is a dope jam.
This is here now. You get what I'm saying?
Real talk.
Niggas gotta look at each other. Like, we are now here in the moment of what it looks like not having government assistance.
Yep.
And how are y'all niggas operating and dealing with that? Not too well. So don't start preaching that bullshit that you're prepared for this shit. You're not ready.
You ain't.
A lot of us are not ready. And stop making that rhetoric go, and y'all buy into this shit. So then now give us operations. I already kind of told you, we've already told you about the 5 R's.
Yeah.
We've already told you to create a list. We've already said take some money out that bank and help assist people. You know what I'm saying? You should have a list of that 5 or 10 people that you could go for A, B, and C, your needs and necessities. Right? That's how we organize. How we can borrow and barter. We should be able to do that.
That's
Who
true.
can I contact and be able to say if I need some extra money to be able to help pay this and that. Don't go to people that are constantly asking you to go GoFundMe and cash at me. You know what I'm talking about?
And you shouldn't be charging people for the bare necessities
man.
on shit.
Stop it.
When you know there's an urgency.
Stop
I
it.
just got a problem with people saying they love black people and then going to charge them for shit that they absolutely need.
Come on, man.
When it ain't that, when we're in a crisis situation.
Stop it.
You trying to get paid cash then.
Man,
That's
come
sad.
on, man.
That's really
I mean,
sad.
it's just, I'm over it, and I hope you niggas really start realizing those people, those fundamental agitators that create this idea of we need to shut it down, dismantling it. Well, it's being dismantled right before our eyes. And whatever bailout, if people still are not, if people are still reluctant to go out and to spend money on any of these industries that pump the economy, it don't matter how many bailouts the freaking airplane industry get. Nobody's flying.
Yeah.
It don't matter how much you bail out Wall Street. Nobody is putting their money in stocks. So at the end of the day, it all could go fall and tumble down. So now, what do we do? All right? What do we do? Don't start listening to people that can't even plan for their own life telling you how they're going to plan for bigger streams. Because in a state of emergency, we still need to be governed and embodied by principles. We still need to be governed and embodied by some kind of control, some integrity. We still have to be governed by some type of thing that makes perfect sense, some scientific thing, not just this idea that we're just going to walk around here and we're just going to just be in Armageddon. Some of you niggas, I think, want The Walking Dead, and you ain't ready for that.
Because you watch it all day long.
You know, you're not ready for that. Some of y'all watching The Outbreak and all these other different, you know what I'm saying?
End of the world kind of
world type shit, but you're not really ready for that type situation. So I'm done hearing the beggar's perspective and the so-called abolitionist perspective and these ideas, because you don't create something. And now, for those abolitionists that have created, shots out, and I truly believe that this is a moment that we build, but I'm not going to listen to somebody that don't got 10 cents in their bank, 10 cents in the bank, and go and try to embody me to tell me about how do we operate in this new sense of change when your integrity is shot to hell. These are bozo the clown ass niggas, silly ass niggas. Nah, I'm just being very
You
honest.
said Bozo the Clown?
Bozo the Clown ass nigga, silly ass
Damn,
nigga. And I'm not finna go ahead and go. I went old school Bozo the Clown.
Yeah, that's old school. Yeah, that's
I'm going back. I'm bringing Bozo the Clown ass nigga, weirdo Negroes, and these special Negroes. That this is a time that we scale up. I know you said back behind closed doors, you was talking, you having some conversation with some powerful people behind closed doors. But now, when all of this moves in, our deeper conversation says, this is why we need this.
Right on.
This is a time we have planning. So if my brother Malachi is still on listening, I need to, this is when we have our plan of strategy. When all this shit wipes away. Hey folks, by the way, this is why we need this. Because when you look at some of our communities, what medical facilities they have in our communities?
We don't even have a clinic. We don't even have a clinic. We don't even know what to do in the case of an emergency if somebody's pregnant or wounded. Some of us don't have first aid kits. We don't know how to boil water. I mean, just little shit. I mean, just real basic stuff.
That's another on the list. Who is the medical person that we go to? That's a huge thing. Who is that person? What is it? Who are the people that do the babies if you can't go to the doctor?
Midwives.
The midwives.
Yeah, the midwives.
Who is that on your list?
Yeah.
It has to be. Who's electrician?
Look, I'm gonna tell you something.
Come on
3
now.
years ago, thanks to Javon Muhammad, she made me go to a training with her in Idaho, Boise, Idaho. Whole bunch of white women, one white man. And then it was Javon and myself. And it was basically they basically go into other countries and help people in cases of emergency. Like how do you deliver a baby, because most of them were midwives. How do you deliver a baby, blah, 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 blah. And I thought to myself, it was all the white people. Me and Javon went up there. I think I got a scholarship or something. Me and both got a scholarship. I can't remember. But it taught you everything on how to insert an IV, how to, all of that stuff I learned. Yes. And I thought to myself, wow, here are white folks. That's what I said. Up in that top part of the United States, Utah, Iowa, like all of that, they know this shit.
And you know what? But you know what I will say though? You're
Come
right.
on. They
I will
know
say
this.
some of my people in the hood, right? They have some of this stuff already. You know what I'm saying? They have some of these stuff because all these motherfuckers ain't going to the hospitals getting shot up. So some of my people in the hood is more prepared than some of these other Negroes that have depended on the system.
That's my point. But most of us think you have to have some certain degree to do
You're
that.
right. Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not even a midwife. I was up there with a whole bunch of midwives. And Javon is a midwife by trade. And here I was learning all of this stuff. And I thought to myself, damn, how do we do this kind of training back here in the hood? For real. Like real shit. Like how do we have a kit in our house? I was learning how to basically how to find the vein and all that shit.
Yes.
Like stuff, because I'm afraid as hell of needles. That's my truth.
Yeah.
But I got through it. You know, how to do all kind of stuff. And how to sterilize the area. Like all of that shit. And I'm saying to myself, y'all, we got to know that stuff. Because that'll take us out of here quicker than any other bullshit.
Find your natural remedy people and holler at them on all levels.
Yeah.
All levels. You know what I'm saying?
Some of us
on
don't know how
all
to do
levels.
first aid. I mean, that shit.
I mean, that becomes a thing.
I mean, come on. What if somebody have a panic attack? What the fuck do? You damn sure better not slap them like in the movies. You may get fucked up. But I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying that in reality, it becomes on, you know what I'm saying, a level of, when we talk about integrity, brother puts out there, yeah, it's all integrity. But sometimes when we talk about integrity, you have to know the whole story before you start speaking on things that you don't know nothing about.
That's real talk.
You know what I'm talking about? On all levels, because I don't think that I think that we play this game with ourselves and we don't become upfront on real things, because I don't have no time for nobody's games. I am about building. I have been using social distancing for a while before they even made the concept up. Trust me. You know what I mean? I do that because I just don't got time to be dealing with it. And I'm ready to build, but I don't have to nor do I have to really agree. But if we're really to build on levels and we're really talking on a situation when in aspects, if there's something that happens, we holler at each other on real terms, that's when I respect it. I can't respect it when it's just thrown out there without, what are you talking about? You know what I'm talking about? If we're talking on levels of us getting together on a basis, and that becomes our problem. Why are we so confused and so scared right now? Is because when people, we don't trust the government, but we don't trust ourselves, if not more so. We don't trust the government for sure, but we for sure as hell don't trust ourselves. Like a Negro, how many Negroes you can on your one hand feel you can let, I'm gonna put $10,000 because I don't feel my house is safe. You know what I'm saying? How many that you know what I mean? How many people you know that you can go ahead and do that and it be good? Not too many of us know that. It'd be like, what? I thought this nigga live over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, homie, where my... And that becomes a bigger problem.
Okay. I think we don't trust the government, but we will utilize their ass.
We trust the government.
No, we do trust their ass. We say we the most people. We say what we say, but that's not what
you
the
believe that
we
still trust. We still yeah, okay. Well, I understand. We say we talk that shit. Okay.
Yeah. We appear to be the most conservative group, but be the least conservative.
We talk that shit. Yeah,
we do. We talk that shit.
So we don't trust ourselves more.
Why you gonna go get the food stamp?
Yeah.
Our food stamp card these days.
We definitely trust the government in a capacity compared to trusting ourselves.
Right. I agree with you there, Barry. I'm right there.
You're right. I know. I thank you for the correction because that is the truth. Because if we didn't,
we still vaccinating our kids. But that's another story.
And that's another situation. You feel me?
I ain't got that flu shot.
Listen. Me neither. Never will. But this is how they throw it. I guarantee you, Dr. Pan is sitting there, just his hands is like this, because what it's going to do, when you create mass hysteria, people are just getting it, everyone's going to get vaccinated.
Inoculated. What is it called? Oh, God. Immunity. It's like having immunity.
Yeah, the immunity, we're going to get these shots. And for some vaccinations, TB, I get it. But I don't think all of it has to be. Immunization kind of situation, this becomes a thing to where it's like, now guess what, y'all? Because we're in mass hysteria. We're in panic. It's going to be implemented. It's going to be implemented. That is going to be what we have to vaccinate everyone. You see what's going on. So think about it and imagine this now. That this all passes. The next kind of Dr. Pan coming, well, because of the pandemic that we just had, and we just... You know what I mean? We should vaccinate everyone. And now adults need to be vaccinated. You understand what I'm saying? And that becomes a level of where we have to start thinking with a free mind. Though this is happening, we cannot allow them to now, because we're in hysteria, we're frantic, we don't know what's going on, because they haven't told us enough. Do your research, listen to credible people like Dr. Flo is credible. She's a doctor.
Thank you, Tina. I could not get the word out.
Listen, have people that has really studied this thing, not just niggas that, like I said, I'm going to tell you niggas one time, stop sending me that chain letter from a cousin that knows a cousin that knows a cousin about what the fuck is going on. Don't send that shit to me no more.
I didn't get that shit.
You hear me? Don't send that shit to me like this was some real, B, low key, don't say nothing. And then a few days later, I get it. I see about 10 people posting up the same shit. And be diligent. If someone's sending you bullshit, don't spread that shit, y'all. And I'm not saying that there's no truth to some of it, but come on, stop creating mass hysteria. The hysteria that should be is the hysteria of what happened to we shall overcome? And we shall build. But we cannot build if we're going to have
we shall not like to work.
Listen, and we got to work to build.
That's right.
Work to build. We cannot have them come, because I want folks to be able to remember 9/11. Gas was $1.95 before pre-9/11, and then all of a sudden we have been fighting gas prices as upwards up to high fives and almost $6.
Yeah, especially if you're in the
And that was because they said we were fighting a war and they were holding up the oil and all this other extra shit. What should have happened, and I said it a long time ago, I said we should have been all boycotting gas stations or being at gas stations picketing, saying the hell with it, we not paying these prices. But they were able to subdue us. I'm saying to my people, don't let them subdue us. Remember this date. Remember this time in March 2020. So when it passes in the next year or so, we can be able to say, no, we're not doing the vaccination shit. If now folks want to be vaccinated, that is a choice. But you should not have us mandatory, because what you're going to say is that when we know a lot of the vaccinations, especially for our black children, it's created retardation.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
never
created.
Seen so many kids
I've never.
With eczema and bipolarism and symptoms and shit. I'm like,
vaccinations have created disease.
Yeah.
Vaccination has created viruses. So I
Well,
need
they
my
just
people
talked
to be
about
smart.
the pack of oodles and noodles, that little seasoning pack.
Listen.
Creates breast in little boys because
Oh,
it's something
man.
that's in the mixture.
I
But
don't-
we'll act like that has something to do with something else. It's like, no, y'all.
Listen.
Read these damn packages.
And so since we have not grown our own, we now have to get all the canned food.
Yep.
That already creates high blood pressure with all the
and
sodium.
Alzheimer's too.
All whatever, all the shit, Queen.
Foil. They say
Come on,
contributes
man.
to Alzheimer's.
So now we're creating this frenzy of getting all the stuff that kills us anyway.
Yeah. All the prepackaged poison.
Come on, man, y'all.
All the prepackaged poison gonna kill your ass.
Let's think this thing through. That's why I'm saying, like, don't play yourself and don't get too extreme with everything that's happening. But again, that's not saying not be cautious, be very aware. I'm upset because the African marketplace won't be, we're gonna do it, but then, Newsom has kind of put the word out there, and me and Brother Raw, we were discussing it. He said, we can't, as much as we want to be bold and say fuck it and let's do it, we just know our people are listening to the guiding and leadership of our system, the same system that they say they don't want to be a part of. So even for us to say we're going to do it, guess what? People want to show up.
Just take this time, family, and just do some studying. If you have to be locked inside your homes or whatever, confined to your home, do some studying, y'all. We got fucking internet. Like, you don't even have to go to the library if you want to. Like, just do some studying. Watch some documentaries. I mean, like, shit that means something. Not that conspiracy Illuminati bullshit. I just can't take it. But read some shit that you know is real so you will understand the next steps. I think we have to work on freeing our mind from this damn system. Mm-hmm. Like, we like the Matrix, we like sci-fi, but we don't even understand how that really works.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So take a time, learn some shit. Learn some shit about yourself.
Yeah.
Learn something. Damn, ain't y'all tired of a do-over? Because I am. I can't stand a fucking do-over.
Listen, I know a lot of niggas is looking at their spouse. They have to really condition themselves to look at their spouse. You gonna see a lot of divorces. You gonna see a lot of divorces happen right after this thing pass away. Because I think that
population boom.
Population boom. It could be that.
Paternity court goes.
But you know what? That population boom is going to create more deadbeat dads. Because I think a lot of us I'm just being honest.
I should have put some gin or something in this motherfucker.
I'm just being honest because in moments of struggle and moments of confusion, right, and high distress, niggas never operate on that level. They don't operate right, because now you're going to be shacking up with a bunch of Negroes that you don't want to shack up with. That ain't right.
Just so you don't feel by yourself.
Just you don't feel by yourself. Just because you feel like, this dude's strong. The next thing you know, you end up having a baby. How many babies is going to come out of March? This is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Some people just having sex because they think it's going to be the end of the world to next week. And we're not thinking with the right mind.
You said the next week.
I'm just saying there's going to be a high divorce rate and there's going to be a high turnover of babies coming in.
That's
right? And they're going to be part of the same bullshit because we're not preparing ourselves. Because like right now, you now have to look at that person that you were able to say, she's going to work, he's going to work, he's got this, she got this. Now you got to deal with your spouse. And like you said earlier, you got to deal with your child. Now you got to learn how to discipline your child. Your child is right there. Your child ain't going nowhere.
Yep.
And don't be that ignorant ass parent and letting your kids just go outside to go outside. Because that's when it starts chaos. Because remember, when the National Guard does arrive, because it's arrived in other states.
It's been activity too.
It's been some activity. Trust me. There's going to be young people that are still, who are outside of this system that cares no damn about it, that a lot of y'all are parenting, that are still going to be out there. And do you think that if they ain't gave a damn before, they're going to care now? It's going to give them more of a right, because now they're going to say, well, you're not even supposed to be outside. So harassment's going to be at an all-time level. And you got to also remember, the prison system is still in effect, y'all.
Yeah.
You know what you're thinking, but they still gonna keep operating as they gonna operate. There's some systems that ain't gonna stop, and that prison system is gonna, they sure ain't gonna let a whole bunch of Negroes out of prison because, well, you know what, we're just gonna go let a few of these guys out. I mean, it's misdemeanors anyway. No. So we just gotta really be very careful on how,
because they do have their plans to rebuild.
Always. Come on now. If you're giving $1 trillion, to Wall Street,
that ain't for you to call things to an end.
Listen, if you're gonna bring it's for sure not for the end. It's not gonna happen. Because when it happens, what's going to happen first in a real idea of civil war, they're going to take a certain group of people to create the genocide. That happens first. And if people don't get on it and figure it out, whoa, wait a minute, if they go after me, they're going to go after us. And they've been doing that to Negroes and people that just say like, it's not that bad. Yes, it is. And we sometimes, because we go lily white and we get into our bozo idea of thinking, well, we're integrated and they love us. I mean, we believe it's okay. So genocide has been. But when it happens, it's not going to happen where all of their causes and effects break down. It's going to seriously happen when things are intact for them to where we have to create the intactment, right? And I'm telling y'all, when it gets low, those white militia groups are a lot more prepared because they've been waiting for this
They've been
forever.
waiting for this moment. They've been waiting for this moment.
They've been waiting it forever.
They believe this moment is supposed to be right now.
Trust me.
Honestly, that's so true, Barry.
So you got to be very technical, have your flashlights, have everything that you're supposed to have. But please don't act as if it's the end of the world. It's precautionary measures. I guarantee you one place that's still open. The gun range is still open.
Yes, it is. In full.
Come on now.
People want to get that goddamn aim right.
Come on now.
They want to get that aim right.
Let's go. Just being honest. Stop listening to those folks that is going to keep on asking you to PayPal, Cash App, go fund me on some shit. They ain't got no kids, ain't got nothing, but they're going to ask me for the GoFundMe. They ain't got nothing. Like they solo, but they asking. I'm just being honest, y'all. Am I lying, sis?
No, you not, Barry.
I'm just saying though.
No, you not.
This has been
people
hypocrisy.
never think you gonna call their ass out. That's what I think.
I don't even give these people. These people know who they are, and y'all know who they are. Y'all see it all the time. I see it all the time. You can't be blind from it. I'm looking at the builders.
I can't learn from you unless you did some shit. That's tangible.
But some people think they've done some stuff, and I ain't
talking about marching and shit like that. I march back and forth to work. Shit. I'm talking about doing like you built the clinic. Man. There are very few people that I'll be like, whatever they say, I'll be like, I'm on it because I've been in their cipher. I've seen their build. I've been so blessed to be a part of some of their builds. So I'm like, I believe what you say, but other people who talk that shit in theory, keep that shit pushing.
Yeah.
Because you ain't never fed nobody.
Man.
You ain't never fed a soul in your damn life on that bullshit, that rhetoric.
Yeah.
Fuck all that.
And that's what it's time. And like I said, we giving y'all the black blueprints. You know what I'm saying? This is where if you are able to, black people, I'm saying, here are some of your checks. You power black businesses that have the ability to give you essentials. You power. So if I basically said, I want to help feed y'all and y'all money because y'all was going to spend it at a restaurant. Guess what? Order your food. I'm going to deliver it. You know what I'm saying? That's when we start feeding industries. We don't stop. We don't stop. We feed our industries. We feed our industries more than any other industry. People will make fun of Asians and all that type of stuff. And I'm not with that because I don't like, I
ain't tripping.
But I'll tell you one thing.
Learn something from the bill.
I'll tell you one thing, that before I go to an Asian restaurant, to a Latino restaurant, I'm going to give all my money to a black restaurant in this moment in time. Right on. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the time where it's like, all right, cool, I can go past a burrito. I can make my own burritos and tacos at home.
Man, my dad
but guess what? You know what I'm saying? If I have to be able to now incorporate what are the black restaurants in my area that I can help support in this time. That, guess what? They might not have a delivery service. I might have to go pick it up, or might find someone that can deliver it for me. That's when we do it. We do not destroy our industries because they're creating a fear factor. I know black restaurants that will still be open. They have to still survive. This is when we go support those industries. We don't go and say, "Whoa, we're going to keep on going getting Asian food, Latino food." I cut all that off for a little bit because that to me is the fun shit. Now it's about, let's group up. It's time to regroup, as my Queen Kelly said. Trying to regroup. Now we regroup and start figuring out a map of black restaurants, and I'll make sure that I'll put from here locally and Sacramento black-owned restaurants. These are the ones for black people, and I'm only talking about my own.
Right on.
Support. Let them be to the point where, whoa, boy, we can't keep up with the surplus. That's what we need. And someone will say, well, damn, I'm giving all my money to those people. That's important. Because guess what? Black people who have businesses, small businesses, won't be the ones getting all those loans first.
Right.
Come on, y'all.
So, Barry, two things before we wrap up.
Yes.
First thing is, will you be doing any kind of live cooking demonstration at all, like on meals you can survive on? I don't care. What can you do with beans and rice?
Well,
Let's be honest. I got lentils.
Definitely me and 3 black chefs, we're gonna get together We're hoping to do like a little feed on maybe, I want to say Thursday, Friday. We're trying to kind of figure out how that's going to work. I know some folks, we just want to be able to serve folks who can't right now. Even if you have food, just to make the days a little bit easier, we're going to go create something to where I'm like probably a spaghetti dinner and maybe a chicken dinner afterwards. And then, thinking about going forward, us creating a concept of me being able to at least put dishes out there with ingredients and telling you how to do it. Like, oh, here's a good quick meal to make. These are kind of things that I'm definitely prepared to do and am going to do. But for sure, I know 3 Black Chefs, we're going to do a feed. Just trying to figure it out. Is it going to be on this Thursday, this Friday, or are we going to kind of wait to see how things happen and kind of navigate it to next week? Because what I want to make sure is that if we do something like that, that the food goes. I don't want to be having to travel and giving people plates. I want people to be able to know, here's the location, it's at this time, come pick up over here. I want to be able to know capacity, and folks are willing to go pick up the food, and as much as what the need is. Or do we just sit there and say, hey, there's a family of need that needs a dinner, and we can create a dinner and serve it to them? So we're trying to figure out that idea. And then, of course, even though the African marketplace is closed, I'm going to still be able to, I'm going to be putting up my menu tomorrow, or excuse me, today, and say, folks, you want your oxtail still, your jerk chicken, your curry chickens or whatever, you know what I mean? We're going to be delivering plates and things of that nature, so I'm going to definitely put that out there for folks to let folks know you can still be able to have good food. And sometimes this is an opportunity to try different things because you're so used to the same old stuff, as well as, participating. And if folks want some menu items or some great things, just inbox me, and I can always be a vessel of help on that day.
Before I get to the second thing, before we wrap this up, I also posted on my page, and I'm pretty sure you did on yours too, where you could go for educational help in terms of online learning.
Okay.
I posted a bunch of that, and then I also posted something a good friend of mine shared from Mississippi, when I should plant. So it has when you should plant stuff around the seasons. In terms of like asparagus or lima beans or cabbage or whatever. And I'm definitely going to look into this because I have a plot in my backyard that I need to use
and
that I have not used.
For sure.
Yeah, so
and I think with brother the Israel Farm and my brother from Green Tech, I think these are the folks that you guys look up, because they always have things that they're doing, they're planting and different like that, harvesting. But this is an opportunity that if you aren't the planter, right, but you have the access to get the minerals, the herbs, the seeds, the fruits, you should be able to go ahead and do that. One of the sisters just said, I already got my orange tree. I got mine. I told her, well, sis, when you get your orange tree, when it starts flourishing, make sure you give it out. You know what I'm saying? Maybe put that the oranges, the extra oranges outside of the front of the crib and say, hey, come get whatever. You know what I mean?
Do different.
I think these are the kind of things that we have to do in Access.
I also posted to you guys 8 vegetables you can grow in your tiny apartment all year long. And they show you how to do it. It's on the YouTube video. Cool stuff, y'all. We got to get back to nature, because here's what I do know. If we do not take care of her, she cannot take care of us.
Exactly.
That's what I always learn.
Exactly.
And I know most of us come from people historically here in the United States, especially if you came through the enslavement door, who were farm workers. They worked the fields. So I feel like that's partly how they could last so long, because they were growing and eating their own stuff that they could grow, or at least save to grow, whatever. We got to get back to the earth. We got to be more in contact, because if you take care of her, she will take care of you.
Most
so
definitely.
That's how that go. Wrap up for you, Barry.
Oh man, just continue to build, continue to take, and again, capitalize on the opportunity. Humanity over savagery. Let's not lose ourselves in that. I definitely the same. Hopefully rendition of the R's.
I'll say that.
And then like I said, let's just really go ahead and dive into it deeply. And Sister Kelly was saying. Yes, sis, at this particular time, if you're trying to hire somebody about your garden, I'll go ahead and give you the connection of that. This is an opportunity.
Yes.
If you have gardens, keep brothers and sisters in work that can be able to help you set it up. If you don't, like I said, I'm never the type of person that says, well, I'll just do it by myself. If I can pay somebody to go and do it, I'll do that in a heartbeat, especially if I have the ends to be able to do that. But if you don't, then, go onto the YouTube channels and prepare yourselves. But this is the opportunity I feel that a lot of us have been waiting for. I've been already talking to some of my people about investing investing and the investing team that we're creating, it's not a short-term kind of focus. It's a long-term type of focus. And I'm looking for a good investor that's solid, that's not about no bullshit, to be able to invest in the stocks and be able to help navigate us in stocks. And that's kind of your job. Our job is to be able to, hey, here's the money. Hey, maybe go check out this. But looking for that to be able to incorporate instead of going to the fear. So I'm going to get back my investment group ASAP. You know what I mean? It kind of fell apart a little bit, but going to get that. And then again, having the monies and getting some other folks ready to buy some of these properties. Like that is going to be, like that to me is like the number one thing that I am preparing myself for and getting ready. But again, like I say, family, love on your family, love on your people, start reflecting on yourself, looking in the mirror, and start channeling out and navigating and taking out some people in your life in this moment of tragedy that gives you very much clarification that I really don't need you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can rock with you on a level, but I really don't need you, because you're really going to see the best and worst of people. And I say at this moment in time, this is the best way, because you're clear of all distractions except the distraction of, am I going to get it? Do I have symptoms? And that part. Don't stress yourself, because all things will pass, especially if you have faith.
Right on. And as we wrap up, the 5 R's to remember. Just take this time during this incubating period. Remember our history, remember our ancestors, remember who we know, who we really are. Reflect on that. Give some serious reflecting on that. And then refresh in it. Rejuvenate yourself, because now it's time to rebuild. And with that, family, y'all take care and have a great day.